friends, today we will be studying a topic of hashing in the subject of data structure. See, now we will be reading what is basically hashing. Now, hashing is a technique that is used to uniquely identify a specific object from a group of similar objects. Hashing is transformation of a string of characters into a usually shorter fixed length value or key that represents the original string. In hashing, large keys are converted into small keys by using hash functions. The values are then stored in a data structure called hash tables. The task of hashing is to distribute entries, key and value uniformly across an array. The element is stored in the hash table where it can be quickly retrieved using hashed key. Hash key is key value modulus of number of slots in the table. Now, introduction to stack and data structure. First of all, we should get to know about the stack without going only directly to the hashing topic. A stack is a linear data structure. Any operation on the stack is performed in LIFO, last in first out order. This means that the element to re-enter the container last would be the first one to leave the container. It is imperative that elements above an element in a stack must be removed first before fetching any element. Any element can be pushed in this basket type container illustrated below. Any basket has a limit and so does a container too. Elements in a stack can be only pushed to a limit, and this extra pushing of elements in a stack leads to stack overflow. To implement stack, it is required to maintain the pointer to the top of the stack, which is the last element to be inserted, because we can access the elements only on the top of the stack. Now, LIFO is last in first out. This strategy states that the element that is inserted last will come out first. You can take a pile of plates kept on top of each other as a real life example. The plate which we put last is on the top, and since we remove the plate that is at the top, we can say that the plate that was put last comes out first. Now, what are the basic operations on a stack? In order to make manipulations in a stack, there are certain operations provided to us. First one is push. Push is an operation which helps in the insertion of an element into the stack. Pop helps to remove an element from the stack. Top returns the top element of the stack. Is empty returns true if stack is empty, else false. Size returns the size of stack, and is full returns true if the stack is full, or else it will return false if the stack is empty. Now, here you can see the push operation is illustrated in this diagram. Now, here there are 1, 2, 3, 5 piles of stacked one over other. When the topmost, whenever we want to insert an element, we can say we are pushing an element on this stack. Now, when we push this element on the stack, the element which will come at the top will become automatically the top of the stack. Now, whenever we want to delete an element, what we will do, we will pick the first plate and we will delete it from the top, and we can see that it is we have now deleted that, right? Now your top is removed. Now push adds an item to the stack. If the stack is full, then it is said to be an overflow condition. Now this is an algorithm for push. Begin, if first you have to check if the stack is full or it is empty, return, and if, else, increment top, stack top assigns value, and else end procedure, right? Now top removes an item from the stack. The items are popped in the reversed order in which they are pushed. If the stack is empty, then it is said to be an underflow condition. Now this is an algorithm for pop. Begin, if stack is empty, return, and if, else, store value of stack top, return value, and else end procedure. Now top, what happens in the top? Top returns the top element of the stack. Algorithm for top is begin, return, stack top is empty, returns true if the stack is empty, else false. Now algorithm for is empty. Begin, if top is less than 1, return true, else return false, end procedure. Now what are the applications of stack? We have talked about function calls before as well. a function until it returns reserves a space in the memory stack. Any function embedded in some function comes above the parent function in the stack. So first the embedded function ends and then the parent one. Here the function called last ends first. LIFO. Infix to postfix conversion is also one of the application of stack, and other similar conversions are there which will be dealt with in the coming tutorials. Parenthesis matching and many more functions are of stack. What is a stack ADT? In order to create a stack, we need a pointer to the topmost element to gain knowledge about the element which is on the top, so that any operation can be carried out. Along with that, we need the space for the other elements to get in and their data. Here are some of the basic operations we would want to perform on stacks. First one is push. Push is used to push an element onto the stack. Pop is used to remove the topmost element from the stack. And peek index is used to return the value at given index. Is empty, is full is used to determine whether the stack is empty or full to carry efficient push and pull operations. Implementing the stack using array in data structures. In the last tutorial, we learned about the stack data structure and its application in several programming phases. We also discussed some of the basic operations possible on a stack. Today, we will try to implement these ideas on a stack using array, although we have another choice or linked list. If you remember, a stack is a collection of elements following last in first out. The element that gets pushed the last is the first one to come out of the stack. Stack using an array. If we recall, arrays are linear data structure whose elements are indexed and the elements can be accessed in constant time with their index. To implement a stack using array, we will maintain a variable that will store the index of the top element. So basically, we have few things to keep in check. When we implement stack using arrays, a fixed size array is used. This size can be even bigger than size of the stack we are trying to implement to stay on the safe side. An integer variable to store the index of the top element or the last element we entered in the array. This value is -1 when there is no element in the array. We will try constructing a structure to embed all these functionalities. Let's see how. Struct, this is a struct type structure of which the name of the structure is stack. 3 variables are being used. One variable is integer of integer type, which the name of the variable is size. Int top, int, and there is a pointer ARR. So the struct above includes as its members the size of the array, the index of the top element, and the pointer to the array we will make. To use this struct, you will just have to declare a struct stack. Set its top element to -1. Furthermore, you will have to reserve memory in the heap using malloc. Following the example below for defining a stack, struct stack s dot size equals to 80, s dot top equals to -1, s dot ARR equals to int asterisk malloc s dot size asterisk size of int. We have used an integer array before above. Although it is used for the sake of simplicity, you have the freedom to customize your data types. We can now move on implementing the stack ADT. Particularly their operators. We have in the list push and pull, peek and is empty, full operation. Let's visit them one by one. Push. By pushing, we mean inserting an element to the top of the stack. While using the arrays, we have the index of the top element of the array. So we will just insert the new element at index top +1 and increase the top by 1. This operation takes a constant time of order of 1. It is intuitive to note that this operation is valid under top +1 is a valid index and the array has an empty space. Pop means to remove the last element entered in the stack and that element has the index top. So this becomes an easy job. We will just have to decrease the value of the top by 1 and we are done. The popped element can even be used in any way we like. Now here is a code. Here we are using a macro max of size 100. Now size of the stack is automatically 100 as you can see. There is a variable top which stores the value -1. Now we have created a function to insert data in this stack. The name of the function is push. Now if the top of the element is greater than equals to max -1, then it automatically means that your stack is full, stack overflow. Now, what we will do? Stack plus data will be inserted at the in new top else. Okay. Now this is a function for deletion. The name of the function is pop, void pop. If top is less than 0, if your top is below 0, then this means that your stack is under flow condition. Now we will return -1 and return stack top equals to minus minus. Okay. After this, we will return stack top minus minus. Void display. If top is less than 0, print stack is empty and return. Printf, otherwise you have to print elements in the stack are for. There is a for loop which is starting from top and it will run until and unless it is value of I is greater than 0 or equals to 0, then in every step we will be decrementing the value of I. And this is how we will print the elements from top to 0. Now coming to the main method, there are two variables, choice and data. While we will create a while function and print the options push, 1 for push and 2 for pop, 3 for display, 4 for exit, and then there will be a new line for entering your choice. Scan %id and choice, then we will, when whatever the choice, then the switch case will switch to that case. For example, the choice is 1, so we have to switch to case 1. Now we will enter a statement to enter the data to push. Now we will, whatever value is being entered, we will add it to data variable. Now you have to push that variable and break. Now case 2 is pop, then you break, case 3 is display, case break, case 4 is return 0 and then default. If there are any other keys inserted by the choices inserted by the user other than 1, 2, 3, 4, then it will be counted as an invalid choice. Now coming back to our previous topic, which was the types of hash functions. Now first you can see, we can study about the division method. The most simple and easiest method to generate a hash value is the division method. The hash function divides the value k by m and then uses the remainder obtained. Now hk equals to k mod m. Here k is the value of key and m is the size of the hash table. Now what is hashing? Hashing is storing and retrieving data in order of one time. For example, here these are your search keys: 24, 52, 91, 67, 48 and 83. What we have to do, we have to create a hash table first, then we have to use the hash function. Hash function, either you can use k mod 10, k mod n, mid square method or folding method. Now I am going to explain these methods to you in detail. See, now let's study about the k mod 10 method. For example, your k is 24. K mod 10 means you have to find the modulus of this 24, which will be 4, right? Now what we will do, we will store the value of key 24 at the index 4. These will be your indexes. Okay. Similarly, the second method is mid squared method. Now, for example, your key here is 136. This key mid square method is mostly useful in when you have a number of odd number of digits. Why? Because we will be taking the middle value of this number. It could be any number. We will usually have to find the middle value and we square that value. Now 3 square is 9. This will be the hash value of the key 136. So now at position 9 we can store the value 136. This is our hash table. Okay. Now coming to mid squared, this method which I just explained was the mid squared method. The mid squared method is a very good hashing method. It involves 2 steps to compute the hash value. First one is to square the value of the key, that is K2. Second one is to extract the middle R digits as the hash value. Now formula is HK equals to HK into K, where K is your key value. Okay. Now let's get understand another hashing method, which is digital folding method. Now this method involves two steps. The first step of the method is to divide the key value K into a number of parts, that is K1, K2, K3 up to Kn, where each part has the same number of digits except for the last part that can have lesser digits than the other parts. Second is to add the individual parts. The hash value is obtained by ignoring the last carry, if any. See, this is your formula. K equals to K1, comma K2, K3, K4 up to Kn. S equals to K1 plus K2 plus K3 plus K4 plus up to Kn. HK, hash value of K is S. Here is S is obtained by adding the parts of the key K. For example, you had a key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What we will do? We will divide it into two halves. Right? Now, we have divided into 123 plus 446. Okay. Now, whatever sum comes will be the storage location of that key. Okay. Now, what is a hash table in C? A hash table in C uses a hash function to find index. It stores key in a key value pair. Okay, this is a hash table. This is an illustrated hash table here. Now, for example, this is a key 1 and this is the index 1 where key 11 is being stored. This is a 3 index where key value 33 is being held. Here collisions can also occur. Collisions can be handled using, there are separate algorithms, different algorithms for handling collisions in data structure. One of the most commonly used collision handling algorithm is separate chaining. Now a hash table in C or C++, which is an associative array, is a data structure that maps keys to values. This uses a hash function to compute indexes for a key. Based on a hash table index, we can store the value at the appropriate location. If two different keys get the same index, we need to use another data structure's buckets to account for these collisions. For example, there are some keys, John Smith, which is being stored at the hash after applying hash function. These are the generated hash indexes. Okay, John Smith is being stored at key 1, index 1. Lisa Smith is being stored at 1, John Smith is being stored at 2, and Sandra D is stored at 14. Okay, now this is your buckets where the values are stored. Now, any hash table implementation has the following three components. First one is a good hash function to map keys to values. A hash table data structure that supports insert, search and delete operations. A data structure to account for collision of keys. Okay. So, we will be studying about collisions and how to handle those collisions in the next lecture whenever I give you. So, this will be all for today, and I won't be taking any of more data structure. I will be only telling you about trees and all in the next lecture. Thank you so much.